Tanya, you keep talking about, you talked about tearing up the wind turbines. The McGuinty Liberals got in big trouble by canceling a gas plant. You might have heard about that. How are you going to cancel contracts to generate energy without costing taxpayers loads of money?
So I didn't say tearing up windmills. I said ripping them out of the ground. And I'm very clear about that. How would we do that? Because we have it within our power, our legislative power to do so. So if we pass legislation that we will cancel those contracts, then we get to say how much, if any, money that will be paid. But I'm going to put companies on notice. If they're getting fat off the taxpayers and families in Ontario, that's going to come to an end.
Tanya, you mentioned a couple of times tonight that you had wished that Patrick Brown was on the stage. If that had been the case, what would you have said to him?
Well, I've made it very clear I would have held him to account for his political crimes. And one of the major themes of those crimes is the corruption and the corrupt manner in which he has governed this party and in which he has run local nominations.
Follow-up question, Tanya. In the 2 years Patrick Brown's been leader, he has alienated social, fiscal, democratic conservatives to the point that so many have stopped supporting the PC party. If you became leader, what would you say or do to attract those supporters back to the fold?
Thank you. Well, that's why I'm in this race, to be a strong voice for those who felt disenfranchised by Patrick Brown or who were simply neglected or told to leave. And what I would do is I would unify people with my voice. I will tell people, let us come together. We need to focus now, move beyond Patrick Brown, and we need to focus on defeating the McGuinty-Wynne Liberal government that has ruled us for way too long. So I would make sure that the grassroots are heard. That's the most important thing to me. Let people have their voice. We're not going to kick people out of the party. We're not going to bully people out of nomination races. We're going to have open, fair, and democratic nominations and let the best candidate win. And that's how we restore some integrity to this party, and that's how we govern ourselves with integrity. We need to make sure that we are equipped to do that, and I will be the person to do that very clearly.
Tanya, you've been pushing for candidates to come out and set their policies and positions on a few issues, parental control of education, and also a number of things. I'm wondering do you feel as though you've made any progress in this? Have you got them to put down their positions on the ground?
Well, I think you can appreciate that from the very minute I entered this race, candidates have already evolved their positions on issues that affect all Ontarians. So, for example, with the sexual education curriculum, I guess the only candidate who hasn't evolved is Carolyn Mulroney, because she still said she won't revisit it, which is sad because there are many parents whose rights are being trampled with that kind of position. But, you know, I see that Doug Ford has come some way on that issue. Christine Elliott just tonight said that she would give notice to parents when these matters would be discussed within the classroom. And I commend them because that's important. We need to make sure that parental rights and parental choice with their children is respected in Ontario.
To build off that, it appeared you were trying very hard tonight to get the other candidates to pledge that they would reopen any contentious nomination races that occurred. What did you make of the answers that you got tonight from each of the candidates?
So the reason I was very vocal on that issue, because I respect grassroots democracy. And it's the right and the just and the correct thing to do is to reopen those nominations. I would have liked to have, well, I think Doug Ford committed to reopening those nominations, and I commend him for that. I would like to see the other two candidates put an end to the corruption within this party and give due process to those candidates who've been shut out and who were bullied and discredited. We need to put an end to that.
Can you name particular ridings where you would reopen the nominations, identify the exact ones?
Sure. There are several. I mean, we know already the party has overturned two, Scarborough Centre and Ottawa West Nepean. There's now the riding of Hamilton West and Ancaster Dundas. Obviously, the candidate there has stepped down to allow for an open. And then there's, of course, a lot of dirt that has come up in the past week. Some other ridings is Carleton with Goldie Gamari. We have issues here, Glengarry, Prescott, Russell with Miss Simard. What other ridings? Durham, I mentioned that one in the debate with Joe Neal. The current candidate is Lindsay Park. We've got to open up that one. I mean, we could go on and on and on. I mean, those are the ones that have been made known. Who knows how many others are? And I would like to hear from those candidates, because if we're going to talk about due process and if we're going to talk about real conservative values, then we need to talk about respecting democracy, and especially at the grassroots local level.
Tanya, where are you running?
Well, we have committed to run because you have to in order to run as a leadership candidate. And as of this point, until I'm the victor, we do not have to commit to a location.
No, but when you filed your papers that you had to file to get approved by the Provincial Nominations Committee, you had to declare a riding. What riding did you declare?
Well, there were only a few handful that were open, but I'm happy to see that since that time that I filed those papers, that more ridings have been opened up. So once we pass this process of running for leader, then I will look to see what other ridings have been opened up, and I will select a riding then.
Okay, so but if you're not saying what riding you're going to win, does it depend on whether you become leader or not?
I think it depends on what's available at that time, and I'd be more than happy to answer that question as we progress, and I'll answer that question on March 10th. You'll have to talk to the LEOC about that.
No, but
Or the PNC.
Okay, but you aren't saying what riding did you declare in the papers that you filed with the Provincial Nominations Committee?
I was under instruction from the Provincial Nominations Committee that we don't have to commit to that riding or declare it, so I will let you take that up with the Provincial Nominations Committee.
So you filed your name in a riding, but you won't say what the riding was?
Take that up with the Provincial Nominations Committee.
Okay. The other thing, though, is this is a ranked ballot. What are you telling your supporters to do for, who do you want them to rank second? I
let my supporters exercise their democratic right to vote and rank as many or as few people as they choose. My number one message is rank Tanya Granic Allen as number one and do the rest as you would like.
Tanya, when you gave that list of ridings you'd like to see reopened, I'd like to get your viewpoint on one of the ridings you mentioned was Carleton with Goldie Gameri. And she has allegedly written on social media that Jesus is worm food and Christianity is gay. And I'm just curious, as a social conservative, what do you have to say to those comments?
I don't think I have to be a social conservative or anything to address those comments. And I think that's something that the PNC will have to address because she was vetted and she was approved to run. So that's up to them. Ms. Gamari can say whatever she likes. I mean, this is a democracy and we have freedom of expression. But for more information on other ridings, I'm sorry, I think you asked for a list of other ridings. Just go check out Take Back Our PC Party. Jim Carahalios has a lot of information on a lot of these ridings with a lot of details. And I'm sure you'd find a wealth of information there. By the way, sorry, just one more question. I don't agree with her opinion there. I abhor that position.